Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Today is 11th of January. Thank you for joining our faceconomics podcast. I am joined today by my friend Denis, who, by special invitation, hailed from one of the countries that we are not that much, well averse of. We're simply not privileged enough to be able to learn a little bit about his country throughout the years, at least not in the Western world. And so I figure I go ahead and invite him and learn a little bit about Denis's experience growing up in Russia. Um, you know, I myself have always been curious about other societies, about other cultures, given that my family background myself came from various parts of the world. And so I've always been intrigued with Denis's part of the world, Russia. And, as most of you guys probably are not that, well versed off of certain conditions and social norms and traditions in Russia, I thought I'd have Denis talk a little bit about his uh, experience growing up in Russia. With that said, hi Denis, how are you? Happy New Year. I think you guys
Hi, I'm good. I'm good, thank you.
you just celebrated New Year's, I believe, or this month, correct?
Yeah, actually, New Year, I would say, the must, can I say, like celebrated holiday in Russia. It's the hugest holiday in Russia. Every family celebrates it in Russia, and yeah, we have uh, a lot family get-togethers that day. We spend a lot of time during New Year. Yeah.
Excellent, good to hear. So, Dennis, when we first met, it was close to about 2 years ago. We were traveling and kind of sightseeing with your wife. And I'm just kind of curious, what brought you to Cyprus, and why Cyprus of all countries?
Well, I have been living in Russia for 25 years, and I lived in Saint Petersburg before we moved to
Oh,
Cyprus.
okay.
And my wife was offered to job in Cyprus here, and we decided to move on Cyprus because nowadays it gets you more opportunity to travel, and we want now to travel a lot, to visit countries, to see the world, and that's why we decided to move on that country and
Great.
live here at least now.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. So, when you were living in Russia growing up, were you curious at all about other countries? And did you want to go and visit, the Western part of the world? What were, the triggers? What basically got you interested to want to learn about other societies and cultures, even English? It seems like you've picked up English really well. So, can you tell us a little bit about your overall upbringing in Russia and what was it like to grow up in Russia?
Yeah, the most people in Russia, like I mean, most part of people in Russia, I think not sure never been outside the country, but I don't know why, but I was always curious to see something not only in my country, to see something outside Russia, and I remember that I had my first foreign trip, let's say. It was business trip, and it was business trip to Germany. And I don't know, for me, I was 21 or 22 years old, and for me it was first time when I was abroad,
Oh, wow.
22 years, and it was a huge experience for me. Uh, Everything was unusual, and everything was interesting. Another language, uh, people, interesting places, and it's first time when I had such of experience. And after that, I decided that I want to learn first English, and I want to see a lot of another countries. Yeah. After that, I decided it.
That's really
After
neat.
that, business trip in Germany.
Excellent. So the business trip, one time, event in Germany's triggered your curiosity about other languages and cultures. So walk me a little bit, through your upbringing in Russia. You said you grew up in St. Petersburg. So St. Petersburg is a fairly big city. If I don't, I've never been to Russia myself, but I'm guessing based off of what I've researched, quite a big city. So were you exposed to other foreigners there growing up when you were a kid? Did you meet people from different countries? Did they teach you and tell you about, what it's like growing up in their country themselves?
Well, actually, I grew up on the southern part of Russia, and I moved to Saint Petersburg like 3 years before I moved to Cyprus. And the whole time in my childhood, uh, I lived in actually small village in Russia.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Okay.
it's yeah, it's small village. And if I correctly understood your questions, did you ask me if I see
If you,
some
yeah, met
foreign
other,
people or?
yeah, foreigners, exactly. Have you come across other foreigners? Did they tell you about their countries? What was it like? Even when you were living in a village, did you, meet other
Uh,
foreigners visiting your village when you were?
well, yeah, I got you. Living in the village, I never seen someone else. I never seen some foreigners or people from other countries because it's small village and uh, live in small village. It's a little bit different than live in huge cities. I mean, not only in Russia, I think, yeah, but
Right.
in other countries the same as well. Yeah.
So what was it like when you were living in the village? Well, catch up on living in St. Petersburg. I'm curious to know what it's like to live in a village in Russia. That's pretty neat. Did you have your own livestock? Did you raise, goats, sheep, or did you have animals? What is it like?
Uh, well, a lot of families that live in village in Russia have some, how to say it? I I couldn't use word pet. Yeah, I mean that pet that you grow up.
Right, right.
I mean,
So
we
not
had
really,
chickens, like ducks.
right.
We had even rabbits,
Oh, okay,
and some of my friends, for example, had pigs, cows.
okay,
Yeah, and it's pretty usual for villages in Russia. Uh, for example, almost a lot of families, I would say, in villages have chicken in their backyards, I would say,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
And
Very rural.
yeah, but
Yeah,
actually nowadays it's less popular than like 10 years ago.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. So you come from a village, and I take it your parents, were they working in the village, or what were their profession? What were they doing when you were living in the village?
My father works as a like car electrician. Not sure about English word, but he repair electrical stuff in cars.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, electrical repairs on cars, right? Okay.
hmm And my wife, not sure
Mom,
about the word, but she
your
doesn't
mom.
have a job and she takes care about home.
So your mom was a homemaker. She stayed at home and she takes
Yeah, yeah,
the house and
yeah, yeah.
excellent. Great, good to know. Have either one of your parents been overseas? Did they travel to different parts of the world? You know,
My parents never been any anywhere except Russia. They never been somewhere outside. Yeah.
oh, wow.
I think they don't want to just because it's how they live,
Right.
has how they live that life, and
They gotten
I
used to,
think they don't care, yeah, about it. They are used to living like that,
right.
and
So they
that's it.
basically,
A lot of time I offered him to travel to somewhere, but they to prefer they prefer me to go to home
right.
to visit his
To visit your parents.
them.
Right. So they pretty much have lived a very quiet, peaceful, and for the most part, very traditional life then, right? So they haven't really explored the world as much as you have. And look at you now, you're in a different part of the world talking talking in a foreign language in English. And here I am, we met in Romania actually, and by, just coincidence, and now we're back and talking again about your life experience in Russia. So imagine that kind of overall life experience. Just because you've traveled and you get to meet people from different walks of life, backgrounds, you know, and even language background. And so this is fascinating. So you seem to be well versed about American life and how the American society is like. I mean, when we were talking in Bucharest, for example, you were telling me a lot about your exposure in, you know, American music, American movies, games, online games. What sparked your interest in America?
Uh, I mean that United States, I think, produce the most popular things.
Right,
Not only the United States, but the most of things. I mean, movies, music, games.
right.
It came from United States, and we, I mean, teenagers and kids and old people in Russia. It's not are not exception, and we all like some popular movies, some music that were produced in USA and that were made up in the US. And
Oh wow. Okay, so
yeah,
you guys
so
really go ahead. Oh,
uh, for example, in Russia, we teenager and people with my age, I'm 29 years old.
okay.
Uh, they usually watched in New Year Home Alone.
Oh,
It's
really?
it's became as traditional. Yeah, in Russia, it's very popular to
Home
watch
Alone.
it
Okay.
in
With Macaulay
Home
Culkin.
Alone with Macaulay Culkin. Yeah,
Nice. Okay.
and we watch usually first part and second part of Home Alone, and
Okay.
Harry Potter. We watch it a lot in Russia, so it's
So,
not exception from all over the world. I mean,
right. So growing up, you were pretty much, exposed to Western, entertainment and American entertainment then. And you guys embraced it and you welcome it. It seems like you're just like anybody else around the world. I mean,
yeah,
um, it seems as if you actually know more about American culture and tradition compared to people that actually grew up in America. It's just pretty fascinating that there you are growing up in a village, coming from a village in Russia, being exposed to American movies and entertainment, as well as music and um, all sorts of, cultural, um, you know, artifacts from America, which we didn't even know about that you guys get to watch Home Alone in Russia. Imagine that. That's pretty cool. It's another eye-opening, tidbit of information that I wish we in America, and especially in the West, have had experience learning about the culture in Russia and the people of Russia. Meaning, so you guys actually like Americans. You actually, follow American movies and music. So that in itself is pretty, profound in my opinion. Just because we're basically kept in the dark in terms of Russia. Unfortunately, we don't know enough about Russia as a society, as people group, and that's kind of telling of how we've gotten used to our comfort zone and not wanting to explore and learn about others' culture and societies in various parts of the world. So thank you so much for sharing that with me. Now, I'm curious to know if, well, sorts of games do you play with your friends with? And do you go to bars? Do you go dancing? What do you normally do with your friends for when you have downtime, when you have, so some free time to hang out with your friends in Russia when you were there?
I got you. Well, I play computer games as my friends do, and we usually play some competitive games as CS:GO. Not sure how to pronounce it, like Dota 2. In
Delta.
Russia, we call it just Dota.
Okay.
And we played Call of Duty, not so much as Americans, because I know that in America it's as like a religion, yeah, Call of Duty.
Call of
Am I
Duty.
right
Yeah,
or
yeah.
no?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of gamers. Call of Duty is pretty popular in the U.S. Yeah. So you guys get to play Call of
It's
Duty.
it's very popular in Russia also, yeah,
Oh,
but
so
I
is it
know that
Russia?
in the USA it's like a
Yeah.
religion, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Call of Duty is pretty popular. I didn't get to really play it myself. I have gotten basically inundated with other things growing up. I did play soccer for a little bit, and also for my orchestra. So I didn't get to play so much on video games. But yeah, Call of Duty is pretty popular. That's definitely one of the staple video games growing up when I was, in my teenage to late teen years.
Hmm.
So, do you go to discos with your friends or like bars? What else do you do
Yeah,
there?
of course. We are as any, I don't know, not like teenagers, any people who want to hang out and relax. We go to the bars. In Saint Petersburg, there are a lot of nice and cool bars. If you love rock music, you can go to the rock bar.
Uh,
I don't know, if you love techno music,
uh,
there is a bar like with techno music. If you love some, I don't know, Mexican experience, you can go there. And we have a lot of in Saint Petersburg. We have a lot of restaurants with different cuisines. Yeah, and we have it less in villages.
right.
For in my village, I I didn't have like any restaurants or something like that because it's too small. Yeah, but Saint Petersburg, I think it's like it's the same with any other cities in Europe and the USA maybe.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it seems like it. It's not like, this third world country that most people might imagine. Seems like you guys have a lot of similar amenities and type of lifestyle as everybody else in the Western world, and specifically here in the U.S. So I'm glad to know that. Thanks so much for shining some light on how you guys would go out and just be around your friends. So another issue that I would like to talk about is what type of music do you typically listen to when you're in your room or by yourself? Do you listen to Western music or do you favor Russian music typically, or both? Do you have a specific, genre that you prefer?
Well, it's interesting. I I have been on the Metallica concert in Moscow in I don't know. It
Oh,
was like 10 years ago maybe.
Metallica was in Russia.
Mm, yeah, Metallica with James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, Lars Ulrich. I'm not sure about the name. And yeah, with my friends, we took a bus. It took us 40 hours by bus to get to the Moscow to watch a concert, but it was amazing. And as you understood after that, I like rock music. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
but it's interesting. No, like not recently, like lately, yeah, um, I really like to listen different music, like rap, Eminem, so on.
Oh, you
And
listen to
lately,
Eminem. Okay.
yeah, it's I know I think it's the greatest rapper in the world.
Oh,
It's obvious, yeah,
Eminem's the
for me,
favorite. He's the greatest rapper. Okay. All right. I'm sure,
for
hopefully, if
me.
they hear this podcast, one of his representative mates, they might send you some memorabilia and t-shirts or whatever from Eminem.
But one more I wanted to say is that lately I started to listen much more Russian music, maybe because I miss about home a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
sure.
that's,
Well,
it is what it is. Yeah.
that is so fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and what it was like growing up in Russia. We've only got less than 5 minutes to go on this podcast. Um, if you were to talk to the American public, if you were to talk to, just regular Americans, for example, if you were here and you're making new friends in America, what would you like Americans, to know about you as a young Russian guy that is new to America? What would you like Americans to know about you as a person?
Uh, just nothing is special. I think I'm a regular human, yeah, a regular people. I do my job. I work as an electrical engineer. I'm not any like star, or I don't think I do something really important. Just live my life with my wife, do my job, try to travel, try to make friends, and yeah, I think it's the only is you need to know to start a new friendship with someone. Yeah, and there is nothing special. Maybe sounds a little bit sad, yeah, but yeah, that's a life.
It's a little sad, you said. Uh, I, did you
I
say?
mean, like, uh, I mean,
Uh,
like, I'm as a person do just my job, live my life. I think I'm as usual human in that
right,
world that just want to do
right.
what they like and work, grow up family, and so
Right.
on.
So you're basically just anybody else, just like one of us. We're regular people, um, and that's really good to learn a little bit more as far as your aspirations and what you were like, regardless what part of the world you're in. I mean, there's no, I mean, there you can't control where you're born, right? And you can't control other people's opinion of you. And so I'm glad that you've shared your background with us because I think it's very important, especially nowadays, that we learn about other people's culture and other people groups and countries worldwide. Unfortunately, the media is always trying to paint, one side, you know, worse than the others, and it's very counterproductive. And that's why I want to just give you the opportunity to share your perspective as an individual, just a regular guy wanting to have a typical regular life and just being who you want to be. So with that said, thank you so much, Dennis, for your time. I look forward to our next conversation, and I wish you and your family
Thank you, John.
I wish you and your family, especially your parents in a village, a very, very happy new year and looking forward
Thank you.
to our next conversation, Dennis. All right, you take care and thank you so much for your time. See you later.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. See you.